So starting with last week's results, obviously the trophy, not the league, but in the bigger picture, how important a win was that for you?
I think it was a great win for everyone involved, and just for momentum as much as anything else. Came into it 4 wins on the bounce, and to make it 5, and also obviously it was very good, but also to see if the lads who hadn't been starting so much in games recently were right on it, and continued to be real contenders for a starting berth in the team, and they proved the point. I thought they were very good indeed, and they're applying a lot of pressure on those other players who have been starting ahead of them.
And broadening that out, the fact you made, was it 6 changes? You still went and won, and you were still pleased with the performance. That says quite a lot about your squad, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. We haven't got a big squad by any stretch. 17 or 18 players when everyone's fit. So it's important that they are proper first-team players, and we're not padding it up with anything else. There's no point in doing so unless they're very competitive individuals and ready to start games when necessary. And there's a good vibe about the place, and we need to keep it going. We know we can't rest on our laurels, and that last week was really good, and it increased the that sense of positivity around the camp, 100%.
And just to finish off the trophy, Eastleigh, your next opponents in that, what do you make of them?
Yeah, we had a difficult fixture down there, and we didn't perform by any stretch to our capabilities on the day, and difficult day, difficult weekend, but it's something that we want to put right in that home fixture against them. We're both in the league and the cup, and we're down through to the last 16. It gets serious now, and that's thanks to the players who performed so well last week.
So on to the league this weekend. You've mentioned momentum, you've got a cracking winning run behind you now. That, to start with, is something I guess you want to keep going.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've turned the form book round a little bit away from home. We needed to settle down a bit and play to our strengths and do a lot better. We've done just that the last 3 away games, but we need to continue that upward trend and accumulate as many points as possible to apply pressure on those 2 teams above us, and hopefully Saturday night we'll be in a good place.
And Ebbsfleet, are they much of a different challenger team near the bottom end of the table for you?
Well, they're all competitive teams, and looking at the changes they made recently, they had a good win last week when they were down to 10 men as well against Kings Lynn, who are really doing very well indeed in the league below. So there's no really poor teams at this level, and plus they've made good strides in terms of signing players in recent weeks, and their new manager is very good as well. So we're expecting a tough game, and as they all are.
Without dwelling too much on your opponents, beating a side like Kings Lynn, from the lower division, but with 10 men, that's going to give them confidence that they might have just been needing.
Yeah, hopefully not too much confidence, but no, I think they've got some threats, and the players like Weston might be coming back into the starting 11 as well. They've got some height and strength in their team, and threats from out wide. So we won't be taking it lightly by any stretch, but we just have to remain really solid, and we built it on that solidity at the back and in midfield, and grafters up front, and there's no reason to change the way we've gone about things, but it's about consistency. We've shown consistency recently, but how good are we to keep it going? That's the challenge.
So on to your team, 6 changes last week. Where are you sort of thinking this week?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because the changes were made for a reason, and people proved a point. And then you look at the performances in training as well, and people are really stepping up. We'll make that decision tomorrow. It's a tough one, but obviously I can't just think short-term memory. I've got to think of the last 4 or 5 games in total, and who's put us right up there in recent weeks.
Any injuries to be concerned about ahead of this weekend?
Yeah, Mark Beck pulled up with a hamstring issue again on Tuesday in training, so we've had it scanned, and we're just having a second opinion on the reading of that scan, and to know the full extent of what's been a bit of a problem for him for some time now, and we're just hoping that he may miss out this weekend, but we're hoping that the extent of the injury doesn't rule him out for too long.
And not obviously looking at the specifics with him, because he's still waiting to find out, but hamstrings, you've got to be careful with that, haven't you, really?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's no greyhound, Becky, so he normally happens to really rapid players, but he's such an important player for us, and he's a big mobile lad, you know, that's doing a great job for us. So we need to look after it, because there can be complicated injuries, and they can last forever, you know, and we don't want that. We want him back as soon as possible in 100% good nick.
Fingers crossed it won't be too serious. And finally, I'll just ask you about the couple of under-23s players that you've given non-contract terms to, featured on the bench last week. What is it about them that you feel that they can make that step up for you?
We go and watch a lot of under-23 football, you know, right from the elite level and through the pyramid. And you know, you look at young lads and you question their attitude sometimes. But with these two, they're really shining out in terms of how much they want to do well and progress themselves. They're local boys, so it always gives us that bit of local pride involved in the team as well. They're big and strong boys, and they're 100%ers, and they're actually smooth in possession, you know, for centre back. So they've got a future, and if they keep working at the game, then they'll have more and more opportunities with the first team.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.